Good morning, stock traders, and welcome back to Stock Traders Talk Radio. I'm your host, Stock Sumo. Thanks for joining us on another terrific Thursday, August 23rd, 2012, where we have an exclusive CEO interview lined up for you today. And doing today's interview is Haas. Haas, take it away.
Why, thank you very much, Stock Sumo. And it's actually not a CEO interview. We have a president of one of the company's subsidiaries that I will be introducing to our fellow listeners. So we're here with Mr. Charles Hensley, the president of the newly created Itonis Pharmaceuticals division at Itonis Incorporated, stock ticker ITNS. Mr. Hensley has an interesting background as a longtime entrepreneur and is most famously known as the inventor of the Zicam Cold Remedy. I know I've used Zicam in the past, so that's very interesting to me. Dr. Hensley has worked within a diverse set of businesses related to pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, music, and even television and film. He's a graduate of the University of Oklahoma and has a Ph.D. from University of Southern California in physiology and biophysics. During the mid-1990s, he invented the Zicam Cold Remedy and created the first corporate venture in order to market and sell that product. Zicam went on to become one of the most highly successful over-the-counter products and brands in the years that followed. Eventually, Zicam LLC was sold to Matrix Initiatives LLC for quite a handsome profit. Now, Dr. Hensley has joined Itonis Incorporated as the president of the newly created subsidiary Itonis Pharmaceuticals in order to pursue a similar business opportunity. And actually, I shouldn't call it a subsidiary at this point. It's Itonis Pharmaceuticals division. They plan to roll it out into a subsidiary of the company in the near future. Earlier this week, the company made an announcement that it plans to introduce a new over-the-counter remedy for nausea. While Dr. Hensley is going to go over what this entails, it is basically a nasal spray that will alleviate nausea caused by motion sickness, food poisoning, and possibly chemotherapy. Sounds like he wants to do something very similar to what he did with Zicam, and ultimately sell this for a very large profit, which also means a large profit for ITNS shareholders. So in this interview, we are going to cover a little bit about Dr. Hensley's background, and how he came into Itonis Pharmaceuticals itself. We will talk about the new division, Itonis Pharmaceuticals, and what they plan to do with that in the near future. And we will also discuss the market potential for this new nausea treatment, as well as some of the other products they might have in the pipeline for Itonis Pharmaceuticals. So without further ado, welcome to Stock Traders Talk Radio, Dr. Hensley.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Do you mind if I call you Charles or Chuck? I don't know what your friends call you. That'll just make it easier.
You can call me Charles. It's fine.
All right, sounds good. I am Haas. Darren is my actual name. But why don't you just describe to the audience a little bit about yourself and your background?
Well, like you said, I have a Ph.D. in physiology and biophysics from University of Southern California, and I was frustrated with the academic life. I wanted to do something that actually could make an impact to consumers. So eventually I invented a product called Zicam, if you know about that one, and we invented Zicam for the common cold, and then went on to invent another one, Zicam allergy. Both were pretty big successes, and we actually had to develop the nasal delivery system in order to do that. So we have a lot of experience in the nasal delivery system, especially with homeopathics. And further on down the line, I decided that I wanted to go after flu, influenza, which we did, and when this opportunity with Itonis came up, I just jumped at it because I thought, wow, here's a chance to do something similar to what I did with Zicam.
Okay, very interesting. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the homeopathic market. I came up at the University of Minnesota as a pre-medicine student and gradually shifted towards alternative forms of medicine and treatments. And I was a nutrition science student, so I'm totally into all that stuff. And obviously the market for that is growing at a very rapid pace. As you know, you've had success with Zicam, and tons of other products can make a large market imprint as well. Why don't you describe a little bit about this new Itonis Pharmaceuticals division of Itonis Incorporated? How exactly did it come to be? How did you meet with management of the company? And how exactly did you guys form this new division?
Well, I was approached by Itonis with this opportunity. They were looking for something that would actually, sorry, the 3-year-old daughter here. Let's just start over on that one. Hi, please. Yeah, actually, what I did was I was approached by Itonis management, and they were interested in doing something similar to what I did with Zicam. Zicam was a big success, and I think my feeling was Itonis has all the management tools and distribution infrastructure in place to actually do something in a very big way. So I jumped at the chance.
Okay, can you go into more detail on the marketing infrastructure that Itonis has in place that you're referring to?
Yes, they've actually put together a team, or allowed me to put a team together. The team will consist of individuals that are I'm really sorry. My daughter is just causing a lot of commotion right here. Can I get somewhere else that's a little bit more quiet? I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
Oh, I'm sure tons of our listeners have children too. I bet they understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I just try to get my thoughts together. They're actually supplying me with the ability to create an infrastructure that will have people that are experts in clinical trials, development, marketing, so on and so forth. So it's just a big opportunity for us. And when we started off with Zicam, we didn't have any of that stuff. We just had to kind of do it by the seat of our pants. So this is a very big opportunity for me, and I think it's a big opportunity for Itonis as well.
Okay. And just getting into some of the strategic initiatives, not only for Itonis, but also this new drug preparation that you're bringing to the over-the-counter, this nausea preparation. Why don't you talk a little bit about this new nausea preparation and a little bit about its potential market size and how exactly it came to be? Did you develop it yourself? What sort of partners are you working with on the preparation?
Well, actually, yeah, we will be working with some more partners through Itonis, but basically been working on this idea for a long time. Nausea is a pretty big market. Well, it's hard to estimate. We feel it's at least in excess of $1 billion worldwide. I think that one of the major issues with nausea medications is usually they're pills. And pills, if you're nauseous, it's very difficult to keep pills down. And so I had the idea, well, why don't we make a nasal spray, something that could be used even if you have vomiting and things like that going on, you can still be able to use the medication, have it quickly resolve your issues, which is what you really want to do when you're dealing with something like nausea. That's how we came up with the idea. And developmentally, it was pretty much, we have some ideas in terms of what is normally used orally. We came up with some synergistic compounds and, again, put it into a delivery system that would rapidly be absorbed systemically into the bloodstream, through the nasal passages, and that's how we did that.
Yeah, there have been quite a few preparations, not only in the homeopathic market, but also the rest of medicine. They're shifting towards more, introducing it through inhalation versus some of the other types methods, ingestion of pills and, what you just commented on. So strategic in that sense. As far as the market goes, the nausea market, I'm especially interested in the chemotherapy side of things, because that market's obviously growing in the homeopathic side of things, especially with the introduction of, medical marijuana and things like that. So I can see that the size of that side of the market could be potentially massive. Let's talk a little bit about the process for this nausea preparation and how exactly you all plan to get it through the FDA, I should say the strict FDA standards. I know this specific type of homeopathic remedy has a different process to market than some of the other drugs that these bigger pharmaceutical companies are working on for, like the treatment of cancer and things like that. I know it's a little less stringent as far as the standards you need to meet and some of the things you have to go through to actually get it to market, especially on the over-the-counter side. So why don't you talk a little bit about that? How is this different than, say, an obesity drug or a cancer treatment and getting it to market?
Well, when you're doing ethical pharmaceuticals through the FDA paradigm, the normal FDA paradigm for conventional drugs, it usually costs about, say, $800 million and takes, 5 to 10 years to get it to market with a huge amount of risk, because you never know how those trials are going to go or what's going to happen there. And with that length of time, there's always a possibility of a competitor coming up and getting there before you do, or have a better product coming up the pike, while you're kind of stuck with yours because you already spent, 5 years in trials. With what we do is, or one of the things that we do is, we go the homeopathic route. Homeopathic are drugs. They are cleared by the FDA if they're done correctly, and we do everything correctly. All of our homeopathic components are within the homeopathic pharmacopoeia with the proper indications. That being the case, there's really no pre-market clearance to put it on the market from the FDA, other than the fact that you file it properly and everything is all copacetic. That being said, we're still a lot more careful than that. We always make sure that we do clinical trials. We want to make sure that what we come up with has a high degree of efficacy, regardless if it's in the homeopathic pharmacopoeia or not. So bottom line is, our paradigm allows us to get to the market quickly, and that actually allows us to have a lot less risk. And I believe that this is it's a very good way to go, especially when you're talking about OTC medications such as this one. Like I said, this is not only going to be used for serious conditions that have associated nausea, but other things such as motion sickness as well. So I can see this product being purchased by people before they go on a plane or before they go on a boat, or just anybody that experiences nausea for any kind of reason.
Okay, very interesting. Just to reiterate a little bit and cover it a little more in depth, is there a timeline? Have you guys started clinical trials? If not, when do you plan to start them with this preparation? And how long can, like a current or potential shareholder expect to wait before something like this actually gets to market within Itonis Pharmaceuticals?
Well, I don't really want to go out on a limb and say, because you never know what's going to happen during the clinical work. Sometimes during clinical work, you find something that is actually even more exciting than what you set out to look at, and so you want to extend it. You want to have another arm. So sometimes clinicals take longer than you think. And there's a lot of variables involved with setting up a clinical trial. It depends on how easy it is to recruit patients, what the availability of the patient population is at the time, so on and so forth. And so, while I don't want to put a strict timing on it, I will say that we could get this product to market, well under a year. For and I'm being very conservative when I say that. We can get to the market pretty quickly with this.
Oh wow, that's much quicker than I was expecting even. But it sounds promising, especially with the market potential for it. I could really see something like this taking off if the preparation works. So great. Do you have, I don't know if you're even allowed to talk about it, do you have anything else in the pipeline as of right now for Itonis Pharmaceuticals? Any ideas?
Well, we do. I mean, we do. We have quite a few things in the pipeline, but again, I'm a little bit hesitant to let our competitors know what we have in the works before we have a chance to really act on it.
You can send me
I can just tell
email.
you that. I'm sorry?
I was joking. I said you can send me a private email if you don't want the big boys to know about it.
Oh, there you go. Not a problem. Yeah, but I can assure you that they're equally as exciting as this first product.
Okay, interesting. Will we be hearing about some of these new products at some point within the next, let's say, 2 months?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
When we get further along, we're ready to actually put things together and get ready to actually formally announce the product and the launch times, and we'll definitely be talking about those.
Okay, very interesting. On that note, why don't we just talk a little bit about what we have going on with Itonis Pharmaceuticals in the short term versus the midterm and long term. What are the plans, if you just want to go briefly into each of those?
Well, like I said, our short term is to actually develop a robust pipeline and come out with this first product. Well, actually, I should say, start the clinical trials on the first product. Medium term, I would say that we'll be launching this first product, and at that same time, we'll be starting to prepare those additional products with clinical work. And then long term, of course, we will be heavily marketing the new product, and the other products will start moving into the queue, so to speak. So it's kind of like it goes in waves. But those are the main plans for this particular division. And then hopefully, we will be spinning off this division as a subsidiary, and I think that's more of a medium to long-term plan.
Okay, so you plan to just keep this as an Itonis division in the shorter term, and then more mid to long term, we'll actually see a potential spin-off into a separate subsidiary?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about some of the partners. I know you mentioned it briefly when we were going over Itonis Pharmaceuticals itself, but why don't we talk about some of the partners you have in order to complete this formulation and move it into production? Is there anyone that you mentioned specifically?
Well, yeah, the partners actually, there's manufacturing partners that I have good relationships with. There's the CROs, the clinical trials people, that will be involved. And, of course, there will be my team that I'm putting together that will assist me in the day-to-day, putting together these formulations, making sure that everything is proper, et cetera, et cetera. And then there's a series of consultants, homeopathic consultants. Whenever we do homeopathic products, we want to make sure that that we have the correct indications as regulatory partners. So it's just an entire big infrastructure that's required to do this. And like I said, Itonis has been very generous in supplying me with the ability to put all this together.
Fantastic. It sounds like you got the right partners in place when you guys are ready to roll. Also mentioned in the press releases were comments related to the patents on this specific preparation. How do you plan to proceed, and what sort of timeline are we looking at for filing patents and receiving patents on these specific forms?
Absolutely. Well, as soon as we finalize our formulations, we put the provisional patents, on the formulas before we ever release any kind of information, even to the manufacturers. This gives us 1 year of international protection, for the technologies, and then we have that 1 year to file our full-blown patent. So, yeah, we always do that, and we'll continue to do that.
So that 1 year protection is already in place? You guys have already filed for that?
As soon as we finish all of our formulations and we have them ready, that's when we file the provisional patent. We want to have that 1 year in order to, get things out on the market and see how things are going, and then file the full-blown patents. So we don't want to start the process too early, because then by the time that you're going, it's already time to file the other patents, and you may not be ready. So we want that 1 year protection to be as long as possible, So we keep everything as a trade secret as long as we can. And then once we feel that we cannot keep that trade secret any longer, then we file a provisional patent, and that gives us that 1 year.
Okay, so you guys will be planning on filing those patents once you get further down the line as far as clinical trials go, and you're ready to tell your manufacturer to start making it.
Right. As soon as we have to, we'll file those.
Okay, yeah, sounds really good. Sounds strategic. I like it. All right. Well, we've talked about most of Itonis Pharmaceuticals and what we can get into at this point, other than some of the other potential formulations and drugs that you have in the pipeline that we cannot mention right now, but we will learn about in the very near future, it sounds like. What do you think makes ITNS a good investment, strictly from an Itonis Pharmaceuticals side and the market potential there? If you had a 5-minute elevator speech, we like to do the 5-minute elevator speech here at STT Radio. You and I are alone in an elevator and you need to convince me to invest in your company. If you had a 5-minute elevator speech that would represent the excitement of the future for Itonis Incorporated, what would it be?
Well, 5 minutes is a long time to be in an elevator. Usually it's a 30-second elevator speech, but I understand what you're saying. Well, absolutely. I think that just based on what I saw with Zicam and how we were able to ignite so much excitement in the, in the stock market, the world of stocks, I just know that the same thing's going to happen with Itonis. I mean, you come out with a product that has unmet need, and then you put together good, relevant clinical studies for this product, show that it's revolutionary, basically, and you should also indicate that this is going to be, a big selling product just by what you have. Then I think that people will understand that this particular product and the subsequent impact that it has on the stock is going to be enormous. We saw that with Zicam. With Zicam, we did a joint venture with a company called Geltech International. Their stock had languished in the $5 range forever. We got involved, and it sort of drifted up to $9. And then once we released our clinical study work and we launched the product, it went to about $36, over the next 3 months. And it was a pretty amazing ride. And that was for common cold. And everybody knows that common cold, even if you don't treat them, they do go away. But with the product for nausea, some of the other things we're working on, if you have it and there's no relief from it, it can be devastating and it can actually be life-changing. Some people have nausea every day. They can't get rid of it. They would do anything to solve that problem. And those are the kind of markets that we're going after.
Yeah, I know myself. I got lots of friends and family members that struggle with nausea related to cancer treatments and different types of things. So I'm really excited for this product. Very good stuff. Is there anything else you want to add? I'm glad you actually touched on the stock side of things because, it just shows the potential markets for some of these, even homeopathic remedies in the billions of dollars.
Oh, it's enormous. I just think it's enormous. The marketing potential is huge for some of these things. And like I said, it's all predicated on having, a product that meets an unmet need, and having the data to support it, and being able to penetrate the markets. I'm not going to talk about the markets. I'm actually talking about the retail markets. So all those things in place, and I know we'll have those. It definitely will be a big boost to Itonis investors.
Fantastic. Well, we've covered tons of information. Do you have any final comments or anything else you want to address that we haven't covered so far?
Well, I don't think so. I just thank you very much for having me on the show. I always appreciate the chance to talk about what's my passion. This is it.
Well, yeah, we've seen your passion in full effect with Zicam, and I'm sure current and potential shareholders in ITNS are hoping you do very similar things with the new Itonis Pharmaceuticals division. So we'll see how that plays out in the future. Well, Mr. Hensley, I would like to thank you for joining us here this morning on STT Radio. Also, throw a special thank you to your daughter for joining us on the morning show here at STT Radio. We always love to have family members joining our interviewees. So, but we always like to extend an invitation for you to come back anytime you want in the future, and we'd love to have you back at some point when Itonis Pharmaceuticals starts their clinical trials on the new nausea formulation. That'd be great.
Fantastic. I look forward to it.
All right. Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for listening to Stock Traders Talk Radio. All views and topics talked about on Stock Traders Talk Radio is solely for entertainment purposes. We are not professional financial advisors and always recommend you seek the advice of a professional financial advisor. Never invest in any stock featured on our show unless you can afford to lose your entire investment. The information contained on our show is based on sources which we believe to be reliable, but is not guaranteed by us as being accurate, and might not be a complete statement or summary of the available data. Stock Traders Talk Radio advises that the investments in companies profiled are commonly considered to be high risk, and use of the information provided is at the investor's sole risk. Thank you for listening to Stock Traders Talk Radio.